let me talk about Dunn's number for a second,
Yeah.
right? So I want you to think of the Dunn's number is just a way for a company called Dun and Bradstreet to be able to track its 330 million businesses. Dun and Bradstreet is a worldwide organization that tracks businesses. And when I say they track businesses, they have business profiles. Inside of those profiles, it talks about the business owners, the CEO, the partners. It keeps track of every type of trade line that that business have done, any type of partnership agreements that that business have done. And so they created a 9-digit number, right? Data universal numbering system is what it calls. And that Dunn's number is super important if you're going to be doing any type of business worldwide. That's how they track who you are, how well you pay your bills, what your financials look like, what your previous partnerships look like, all of those things. So Dun and Bradstreet is a numbering system that was created by Dun and his partner Brad, and what they started, I want to say, back in the 50s. So
So,
the Dunn's number is super important when it comes to establishing business credit.
so I guess you could say it's pretty much like a credit score for your business.
Yes. So I want you to think of it more like your social security number for your business. So think of it as your social security number. Now your credit score would be what's called a paydex score from Dun. Dun and Bradstreet offer a paydex, and from that paydex, it gives you a credit score. So you can definitely have a credit profile, and that Dunn's number is your credit profile. It looks at everything, not just your score. So paydex carries your score, and your Dunn's number is your profile, your business profile.
Okay, and you said that is, so that's pretty much like optional, that Paydex score you was talking about?
Yes, it's optional, meaning that you want a paydex score of 80 or higher in order to be considered for credit. So you don't have to have credit because everybody don't utilize credit. But let's say, for example, you were going to sell your business, and then I ask for your Dunn's number so I can have Dun and Bradstreet give me a credit profile on your business. It not necessarily has to do with your credit score because I'm more interested in the whole history of your business, everything you went through, as opposed to just if you have a nice Paydex credit score right now.
Okay, is that something you'll recommend everyone get when they get their DUNS number, like right out the gate, or is that something they would need to get later on?
So yes, I truly recommend that you build your Paydex number up, your Paydex score, right? And it's a process. So a lot of times, in order to establish a Paydex score, Dun and Bradstreet needs to see that you have trade lines, that you've done business with other businesses, and those businesses reported favorable terms on your behalf. So a lot of times, about 5 or 6 trade lines will give you a Paydex score of 80 as long as you paid your bills on time. And I like you to pay them before time. So if you had a 30-day account with anybody, I like you to pay it on day 20, 21, so you can get a better score showing that you pay before time, not just on time. So yes, your Don's number is a way for them to keep track of your company. Your Paydex score is your company's credit score.
Okay, and this is a personal question I have for you, Herman, because when you get that DUNS number, how do you know, or when do they actually begin tracking, all the purchases and things that you do? When you're establishing credit, you go check your credit score, there's no history on there, and then it's like you're trying to get history. So when you get that DUNS number, when do they start tracking, and how do they start tracking what you're doing within your business?
All right, so there's 2 ways for this to transpire, right? I'm going to give you the way that it's done and then a way that you can do it. So the way that it's normally done is, like I said before, Dun and Bradstreet has about 330 million businesses. Of those 330 million businesses, they report to Duns. For example, let's say you and I were doing business, right? And let's just say I bought some pallets from you. I was going to buy and resell some pallets. And then you report to Duns that you gave me those pallets on a 30-day term. It was worth about $30,000. I paid it in about 20 days. And so you will report our trade history to Dun and Bradstreet. And because you're one of the members of Dun and Bradstreet, they will, because they vetted you, they will take you and allow you to report on my credit. So there's a number of companies out there that Dun and Bradstreet allows, or they pay them to report on people who they've done business with. So let's say, for example, you do have your DUNS number, your 9-digit number. And so I have one as well. And I got you to front me those $30,000 worth of pallets, and I paid you on time. You will report to Dun & Bradstreet that High Impact Technology or Dr. Shelf Corp paid his debt on time. And so that, along with other accounts, will go into giving me a PIDX score, giving me a credit score. So when these companies start reporting our history, our trading history to Dun & Bradstreet, is when Dun & Bradstreet will start initiating a credit score for you.
So I guess that is important who you do business with, because, you know, of course, not everybody's going to report to Dun & Bradstreet when you're doing business with someone, correct?
So that is absolutely correct. So that goes to the second part of what I've said before. So there's established businesses that Dun & Bradstreet will accept the report from. And then, but let's just say you and I are doing business, but you don't report to Dun & Bradstreet. So Dun & Bradstreet has another program where if I get into their program, they'll contact you, they'll vet you, and then they'll add our trade business to my trade line. So there's two ways to do it. There's the standard way, which I mentioned, and then there's another way where if you pay Dun & Bradstreet, they'll contact your vendors, they will vet them, and then allow them to report on your credit profile.
Okay. And I just ask these questions because, once again, I just want to put every scenario out there just so, you know, our audience is getting all the different scenarios and getting all the information possible when it comes, especially with dealing with DUNS numbers. This goes to show how important it is to do business with certain people, corporations, or entities, because if nobody's reporting, if you're doing all this business and nobody's reporting, then you're technically not building anything on your DUNS.
Correct.